8:08's the time. Just a mere 5 degrees out there. It's AM 650 KJB Radio. My name is Glen Woods. Sitting in the studio with me is Philip Aaron. He is with Wyoming Liberty Group. We're here to talk about House Bill 220, which is, I got to be very careful when I talk about this, though. It's not a state income tax like the one that died. It's a corporate income tax, which is just slightly different, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and it's a corporate income tax supposedly to collect taxes from that are being collected in other states, right. which is true, but it'll also raise the tax rate on 29 other states.
Right.
So it's to bring money back to Wyoming, but it also raises taxes on. So it's on C corporations with more than 100 shareholders in Wyoming.
Now, this is the part that I think a lot of people don't really know about or understand. So are these companies that are located here in Wyoming, but they've reached out beyond Wyoming and we're bringing the taxes back? Is that how they're trying to justify this?
So right now, somebody like Walmart is they're located in Arkansas, so they pay corporate income tax in Arkansas on the sales in Wyoming. Okay.
So that would take that money and bring it back to the state of Wyoming. It gets a little confusing the way they did this.
Yeah, that's one thing that's being said. The other thing is, so Walmart's actually going to have to pay 0.5%, and then somewhere like Lowe's, or who's in a state where they pay like a 3% corporate income tax, is going to now pay 7% on their sales done in Wyoming. So it's going to raise it by 4% for them.
Okay. Now, they say this is only on companies that have 100 shareholders or more. But, of course, some companies don't have shareholders at all, but they're still really big companies. So I would assume there's an allowance for that?
The way the bill's written, so it's more than 100 shareholders. So you have to have that 101 to pass the bar.
Yeah.
And it's C corporations.
Well, I mentioned that because Chick-fil-A, for example, last I checked, is not publicly traded. It was a privately owned company. But still, they're big enough. They're about to become the third largest restaurant chain in the nation. So, so obviously that boycott's working really well for them. But anyway, so they're growing that big, but they don't have shareholders. There's got to be a way to count that. Okay, we'll take a look at that next to see if that's the next thing to look into. There's got to be some allowance for big companies that are privately owned by that. Still, though, when we take a look at the corporate income tax for the state of Wyoming, the question would be then, is this the camel's nose in the tent? Does it grow bigger later?
I think the fear is that this could become a full-on corporate income tax, because the bill sets up all the structure for the auditing and all the other things necessary to collect this tax, and all that would need to happen is in another legislative session for part of the bill to be amended to say, instead of these select industries, it's all corporations.
Okay. And then once you get past all corporations, it's easy to say, well, it's not fair that maybe we should include these businesses as well. I see it at some point that eventually it comes down to a personal income tax. I mean, maybe that's 20-some years down the road, but it could evolve that way.
Yeah, I think with this bill, first it would be a full-on corporate income tax. It opens the door to that.
Yeah.
Personal income tax, possibly down the road.
Yeah. Okay, at this point, we have the leader, and this is why I got through the House of Representatives so easy. I was surprised at the vote. We have the leadership of the House, the bigwigs, if you will. They were all behind this. They put the whole thing together, and so the vote was not even a close one. But now where are we at for the Senate? Because as far as I know, when I look at the Senate, it hasn't even reached a committee yet. They still have plenty of time.
Yeah, I think, well, there's a number of things going on in the legislature. They've received the budget, which is bogging down things. But this bill is not, it hasn't moved anywhere in almost the last 2 weeks.
Right.
Because there's been significant pushback now that people have figured out, what's actually in the bill.
Okay. Now let's talk about, first off, who's the pushback coming from?
Well, I know the Retailers Association has some pushback, and then Walmart has put out a statement. Also, Wyoming Liberty Group we've been doing a lot of work to push back on this bill.
Okay, so there's some good groups that are stepping up. It'd be nice to see some more citizenry stepping up in that. But okay, those are the first few there. Now, when we're sitting, okay, let's talk about now that people are finding out what's in the bill. What do you think they're finding out that's in the bill that we might not know of? Because right away I just say, well, it's on the bigger corporations, it's like up to like 7%. But what else is in it?
Well, the surprising thing that I've found reading through this bill, I've had to read about 20 times now, is it will tax things that are shipped to Wyoming. So it'll likely apply when you order stuff on Amazon.
Yeah.
On their sales, when it's shipped to your door, they'll have to pay a 7% corporate income tax. Possibly other equipment that's shipped in, that might be more of a bigger deal.
Okay, that one I hadn't heard of before, because when I first moved to Wyoming, I'm driving all the way from the East Coast, and the entire way I was behind a big flatbed truck that had 4 massive tires on it. And it turned out it was going exactly where I was going, Gillette. So you think about it, that's big stuff. A lot of what we do here is big equipment in this state. So a lot of big equipment is going to come in, and that's going to be taxed. And a lot of the big equipment people might not realize actually goes towards smaller companies. Most oil companies are actually small companies, not big ones. They're family run.
Yeah, and that's all going to depend on. So there's like 3 classifications in this bill, and if that industry or what's being shipped falls under one of those industries, and it does say items shipped to Wyoming essentially, then certain select industries are going to have to pay this.
Okay. Now, do some industries still get away from it? So, for example, when they were doing an internet sales tax, they were saying, well, this is only on, and they picked on the bigger retailers out there, like Amazon. Well, that just means I can go to some small retailer, some small outlet, nowhere near that big, and get the same thing and get around the tax.
Possibly not. The problem with this bill is the tax may be hidden.
Okay.
In your price, companies will either absorb it by having less workers somewhere or raising the price. So it's hard to say that.
So it may be in the bill if I order something either online or just something's coming in from out of state, but it's not going to say this is a Wyoming sales tax.
No, because this is paid on the corporate end, so they'll build it into their costs somehow.
But usually when something's paid on the corporate end, it ends up coming out of our pockets one way or the other.
Yeah, it either comes out in the price, or they cut labor or cut workers' hours to make up for this.
More with Wyoming Liberty Group in just a moment. AM 650 KGAB.
The KGAB Wyoming Wake Up with Glen Woods on AM 650 KGAB.
Is excess weight affecting your health? Have you decided to do something about it? The Weight Management Program at Consultants in Surgery at Cheyenne Regional Medical Group can help improve the health and well-being of people who are overweight and struggling with diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and sleep apnea. Why wait? The time is now. To see if weight loss surgery is right for you, call 307-632-1114 or visit cheyenneregional.org/weight-loss.
It's tax time, and the United Way is here to help. Through their Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, IRS-certified volunteers are preparing tax income returns over at LCCC at no cost for those who don't have the money to pay a professional. If you earned less than $54,000 as an individual or $66,000 as a household, you should be able to get your taxes done for free. Now through April 13th, come by LCCC's CCI Room 114 or go to myfreetaxes.com to file your taxes yourself.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Don't wait for Cheyenne News to land on the doorstep or pay for a subscription. Always free, always on demand. KGAB.com.
8:18 the time, just 5 degrees, AM 650, KGAB Radio. My name is Glen Woods. Sitting in the studio with me is Philip from Wyoming Liberty Group. We're talking about House Bill 220, which is a corporate income tax proposed for the state of Wyoming. So as we're looking at who might pay and how someone might pay, and I still worry about the camel's nose in the tent on something like this. So we move on now to, again, the Senate, which it has to go through. What's the process here from here? Because it's supposed to go to the Senate to what, some committee?
So it would have to be placed on general file, and then they read the bill in and decide to assign it to committee. It'll likely be assigned to the Revenue Committee. And then that second committee, since this process has already happened in the House, they will, that select group of six or eight senators will discuss it and see if there's any amendments. They'll take public comment and vote on it, and then it will go back into the Senate for a second and then a third reading.
Okay. So now they say the money, correct me if I'm wrong, is supposed to go to, of course, help fund our schools. This is where the money, and every time they want to raise some kind of tax somewhere, it's got to go into the school. So let me play devil's advocate then. So we're able to shoot this sucker down. It's not going in. We're not going to have this corporate income tax. Well, then where do we get the money for our schools?
I think they have a number of other funds that they could draw money out of, or they could also cut the spending to the schools, which is the unpopular argument, but that's your other option. Increase the funding going in or cut the amount of spending. Okay.
I could understand when the income tax for all of us was proposed. Well, that was a Democrat from over in Laramie who works at the University of Wyoming, and she proposed this. And I thought, well, coming from her, I completely expect it. What surprised me was this was Republican House leadership that proposed it this time around. I didn't see that coming at all, that these guys who are at the top and Republicans that would offer a state corporate income tax. Any idea where this came from, how this...
I don't know what the motives of doing this. I think because the bill is being marketed as bringing money back into Wyoming that's paid elsewhere, which is true, but there's the other complications of you're raising the tax rate paid on sales in Wyoming on a 29 other states or businesses located in 29 other states. So those businesses may have to cut back a few workers or cut some hours to pay for this.
Well, now this going back to the internet sales tax. They've made this argument before that, well, okay, here's money leaving the state of Wyoming, and so they're reaching out to other states to tax in other states to bring money back to the state of Wyoming. So when I look at that thinking when it came to the internet sales tax, I see the same thinking here.
It is similar in a lot of ways, because you have businesses that are legally headquartered and located in other states, but the good or service, the end product is used in Wyoming, so they argue that's why we can tax it. And we are in a lot of ways getting away from the traditional Main Street retail. So there's the concern that revenue that was once there is now lost because people are buying things out of state essentially, or through different means.
Okay, so I assume since Wyoming Liberty Group has been speaking out against this, then you guys are looking at possible damage to the Wyoming economy through something like this?
Yeah, and there's only so much you can know with a bill like this. The most immediate damage would be that one of these bigger corporations, in order to pay that extra tax rate, they're going to have to cut a few employees, cut some hours, and there'll be a few less jobs, so they can pay for it and make up tax. It's not going to be magically absorbed. Something has to give.
Well, and I also look at with Wyoming trying to make itself a business-friendly state and sell itself as a business-friendly state, doesn't make us look too friendly.
No, it doesn't. A business-friendly state would have low taxes and policies that encourage businesses to grow here.
Yeah. So the argument has been made, and I've read some of those articles on the air, but there's other states, North Carolina, for example, has this, but they're reducing it. There's some states that are getting rid of this altogether. So Wyoming is looking at adopting it?
Well, yeah, Wyoming's looking at it as almost like a free revenue source that we're not taking advantage of and not looking at the consequences of doing this.
Okay, more with just a moment. We'll wrap it up with Wyoming Liberty Group's AM 650 KGAB Radio.
Shortcuts can be a good thing, but rarely when it comes to health care and never when it comes to surgery. Yet lawmakers are now considering a shortcut to performing eye surgery in Wyoming. Senate File 55 is a dangerous proposal permitting optometrists, who are not medical doctors or trained surgeons, to perform delicate eye surgery. Under current law, only ophthalmologists can perform eye surgery with lasers and scalpels. That's because they are medical doctors and surgeons specifically trained to do so. Optometrists are not. The fact is, there are simply no shortcuts to acquiring the medical knowledge, training, and surgical skills needed to perform eye surgery. So ask your representative to vote no on Senate File 55 by visiting safesurgerywy.com.
Paid for by the Wyoming Ophthalmological Society.
Hi, I'm Jamie Liberty, a senior tax manager from MHP here in Cheyenne, bringing you today's tax tip. 2018 brought significant tax changes due to the enactment of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Many of these changes impact small business owners. A new 20% deduction may be available for your business if you qualify. Make sure you are working with a CPA who knows the territory. Visit MHP's website at mhpllp.com for resources on taxes, trusts, small business consulting services, and more. MHP, serving both Cheyenne and Fort Collins.
And now, a message from Vistaprint. This is a cow. The cow that made the milk that was made into the cheese that made Tober Dairy Farm into the talk of the craft fair. But cheese only lasts so long. The impression a small business like Tober Dairy Farm makes can last much longer, with the right business card to back it up. That's why Vistaprint is offering 500 truly personalized business cards, starting at $9.99. That's 500 cards with exactly the look you want for just $9.99. Plug your information and logo into hundreds of fresh designs tailored to your type of company, or upload your own original layout. Pick from paper stocks like matte, glossy, or uncoated. You can even upgrade to a unique touch like rounded corners. The choice is yours. The time is now. I said now, not cow, Farmer Tober. Get 500 business cards starting at $9.99 at Vistaprint.com with promo code 1212. That's promo code 1212 at checkout on Vistaprint.com. Vistaprint. Own the now.
Here at News Talk 650 KGAB, we pride ourselves on a top-notch news department with Joy Greenwald and Doug Randall. Weather with Don Day of DayWeather.com. To break up this quality professionalism, we hire some obnoxious pasty white guy. That would be Glen Woods. We'll let you figure him out. AM 650 KGAB.
That, by the way, Philip, is all absolutely true. Every word that you just heard there. This is Glenn. Who's on the phone with us?
Glenn, this is Toby in Wheatland.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
With this corporate tax, if it's everything that's coming in, the big corporations, that's everything that comes through Wyoming. Are they just going to raise the sales tax more?
Yeah, and it's not stuff that, say, comes through Wyoming in the sense of it's just traveling through, but...
Well, I like your clothes. I mean, everything that's not made here. I mean, it comes
pretty
in.
much, yeah. Every product that we consume, right?
Exactly, except maybe food, and I don't know, they might have the sales tax on food, so, but
so this
everything you use, basically, you pay sales tax on here in the state.
Yeah, and that's true. So this bill would apply to basically big box retailers, your Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot type of places, grocery stores, and fast food restaurants that are corporately owned, and car dealerships of all things. So it's a lot of
every product you use, and I think I understand what she's saying. It's basically every product you use. So in other words, if I go to buy a shirt at Walmart, trust me, Walmart's not paying this tax. They're sending it to me. I'm paying it. All right.
Indirectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be paying it.
Okay. So if I go to buy a shirt or a pair of shoes or a shoelace for that matter, or any other product at Walmart, everything just went up.
Well, okay, this is where it gets complex because all the theory says that a company, in order to remain competitive, they're not going to raise their prices.
Right.
It's easier for them. The easiest thing for them to cut is labor.
Mhm.
So they'll probably, before they raise the prices, will cut some hours or jobs to make up for
something like that. Okay. All right. So yeah, it's interesting to see what will happen then. Will prices adjust, or will labor adjust, or do we wind up? Here's a thought. You've seen when you talk about cutting labor, some people complain about going to the registers and there's nobody there. They have to do it themselves. Well, there's a cut in labor right there, if that's what you're talking about. So it could be some of that. There's a lot of things you can go ahead and make robots out of. All right, so this story is going to be up on our website at kgab.com. I know Wyoming Liberty Group, you guys are going to be posting this, and you're writing about it. Where do people find your articles and everything else from Wyoming Liberty Group?
So you can go on Facebook and just type in Wyoming Liberty Group, and we have a number of things on our Facebook page. You can also go to yliberty.org, which is our website, and we have a few things up there about this.
Okay. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Sam 650 KGAB Radio.